Hey guys, today I want to inspire you to make two mind shifts. And these two mind shifts, these are foundational to make the changes that are necessary to reverse chronic disease, the lifestyle changes, so you can get back on track with your health. Now, these two mind shifts are so foundational, they will help you in all areas of your life. These are kind of life changing. But for now, we are focusing on chronic diseases. And to get back on track, we got to understand on what track we are when we experience chronic disease. The hallmark of chronic disease is progression. So, people with chronic disease, and maybe that is you, the outlook is not that great, right? Because the outlook is that it will get worse over time, or maybe is stable over time, but it will not go away. So when we go back on track, we have to take another track. And it's quite profound, because if you are like me, then we're raised with a paradigm that chronic disease is there to stay, that there is no way to reverse chronic disease. There is some medication for most chronic diseases to delay progression, to stabilize, to relieve symptoms, but actually you can never get rid of it. That's the paradigm. It's not true. It's the paradigm. But before you have the ability, the inner ability to change, the inner ability to step on this track of transformation, you gotta see the possibility for yourself. If you do not see that possibility, then, well, at least for chronic disease, these two mind shifts are useless. They will work in the other areas of your life, though, so maybe you still want to hang on. But now we are here to reverse chronic disease, and then we really need to see the possibility. Now, that was a long route for me. As I was born into a family with chronic disease, my parents had their whole life multiple chronic diseases. And we went to so many doctors, and it was a broken record. We all always heard the same story of there's nothing actually we can do. The outlook wasn't great, and they got more chronic diseases, got worse, what have you. So there was also evidence that that idea of that it was not reversible, that all those chronic diseases that they had were not reversible. We had the evidence that it wasn't reversible. I couldn't accept that. So I went on a long journey of searching and searching and searching and searching. And when I got the evidence, then still it was difficult to shift that idea within myself that there was possibility. And now there are a lot of people who actually reverse their chronic disease, not only from early stages or severe stages, but also end stages of chronic disease. And it was hard for me to really get that, to really not see that as occasional, anecdotal, or miracle. So it were the earls. It was not. So I needed to have the logic behind, which I found, and what I want to share with you on the whole channel is that chronic diseases develop from low-grade inflammation, from a condition of low-grade inflammation. Now, low-grade inflammation in itself has little and fake symptoms in the beginning. And this beginning can be months or years before any diagnosis is set. So now that this logic is clear, that there is low-grade inflammation at the core of any chronic disease, then when we take away this low-grade inflammation, there is possibility to reverse chronic disease, to get back on track and improve health. So that is the possibility that we have to see for ourselves. That is really the basis for change, that we see the possibility, we see the opportunity. Now, then, what are those 2 mind shifts that we really need to adopt before any inner transformation or any change can actually happen for ourselves? Well, the first one is that we got to prioritize ourselves. That's not easy for a lot of people because we are not used to it. We are quite used to please other people or to adapt to their wishes, to how they want things, how they want that we react, how they want that we show up. So I actually realized that with my own daughter. I was so aware about prioritizing ourselves so we can be who we really are, that I did not want to spoil anything of that with her. I wanted her to grow up as pure as could be. So even though I had my own paradigms and my own beliefs, I was very conscious of that I had them. So I tried my utter best not to project them, on her. So she could grow up as a pure human being. Now, luckily, I can say that so far it worked quite well. And she's a beautiful, pure human being. So evidently herself, and well, absolutely great. But that wasn't always easy fitting in, for instance, the school system. So when she went to high school, that she got a little bit into problems because she wasn't used to fit in and she was just doing her thing. And she's very in herself, introvert, observant. And that is actually not what the school system here demands of her. They want her to speak up and interact and socialize and be extrovert. And actually, that's not who she is. So after a year of high school, she told her teachers, well, thanks for all the compliments and that you're so proud of me, that now I'm more extrovert, that I'm more interacting, that I'm more speaking up. But I hope, dear teachers, that you realize that this is not who I am, but I adapt during school time because of you, to please you. But it's not who I am. And I hope you realize that. And those teachers, they were in shock. And I got a kick out of that, really. I thought it was wonderful that it was not only that she could shapeshift, as you will, or be a chameleon at school, but also that she had the brightness to see what she was doing and to explain clearly to them what her opinion about that was. So, but it also made me realize that we all have those situations, especially in childhood, but also at the workplace, with our parents, with our family, with our in-laws, that actually we do not prioritize ourselves. That we do as we think that we should behave in that situation, in that group, in that environment, because that is acceptance. That is making other people happy. That is fitting in. I hope that I'm going to inspire you with this post to stop that, because it's not healthy. Every time we do that, you know that from the inside, we feel it's not right. There is an inner resistance. And maybe it's numbed out, but the fact that we have resistance, the fact that we have low-grade inflammation, means that there is some kind of a resistance. There's also a lot about our food, about smoking, about drinking, about not moving. We know that. But there's also a mental component. And that is about inner resistance. And a lot of that inner resistance comes because we cannot be ourselves. We cannot prioritize ourselves. And what happens is that we feel not well about ourselves because we cannot be ourselves. And there's a lack of self-confidence, and we get a problem with decision making because we never know if we have to please that one or ourselves in the latest place. So that is what I really want to make clear, that we gotta prioritize ourselves and we gotta stop pleasing other people. Now, that does not mean that we should not care for other people. Of course, we gotta be there for other people, but we can show up as ourselves. And when we show up as ourselves, we have a way bigger value to them, to other people. We have a way greater contribution to other people. We can really be there with our talents and our loving kindness that is not shielded, because we are just ourselves. Now, that's a path. It's a path of inner transformation, but we got to do it, because when we really are led by what other people think, when other people tell you to change, there is an inner resistance. Even when a doctor tells you that you got to stop smoking, stop drinking, eat healthier, start exercising, when other people tell you what you got to do, there's an inner resistance. It's not going to happen. It's only going to happen when you prioritize yourself. When you changed yourself because you wanted to change yourself. So that's number one. Number two is start responding instead of reacting. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on during the day, and we're constantly reacting with our thoughts, reacting verbally with our words, reacting with our actions, with our behavior. And when those reactions feel good, it's totally okay. It's a way, those reactions are habits, essentially, and they help us to be efficient, to not use a lot of energy on this behavior. It is automatic. So when it feels good, it's totally okay. But when reactions do not feel good, they create low-grade inflammation in the body. So it's the opposite of reversing chronic disease. It's the opposite of getting back on track on our health. So every time we feel negative emotion, we reacted to something, a trigger, with our thoughts or with our words, with our actions, our behavior, in a way that has more of an element of protection than it is about the action itself, about improving the future. It's about protecting us based on what happened in the past. It's not about getting the best outcome right now, or the best outcome in the future, or the best outcome for the situation that we are in. And that is the second shift, to respond for the best outcome that feels good. When it feels good, it lowers low-grade inflammation. So we have this guidance system, this emotional guidance system that is constantly telling us if we are on track. If we're not on track, we feel negative emotion. And because we feel negative emotion, we can get back on track to improve our health. So these are two very profound mind shifts that are really at the basis for any change in our life. Prioritizing what we want because it's our true self. It is what our desires are, our dreams, and nobody can fulfill them for us. Only we can. So we got to prioritize them. We got to prioritize ourselves. And because we prioritize ourselves, we can decide to change. Because we want to reach our desires, our goals, our aspirations. We want to get better, get our health back on track. So that's one thing. And the second thing is responding. Responding in a way that feels good and that has the best outcome in the moment, regardless of what happened and how we try to protect us. Now, these are not mind shifts that we can change overnight at all. That's why change takes time. But the more that we exercise these shifts, the more we get used to it, and the more it becomes an automatic thing for us, the more it becomes a habit. And our brain will understand it and will change our neurons accordingly. So it's totally doable. It's totally doable, but it takes time, and it takes a very clear intention. It takes really a deliberate decision to prioritize yourself and to start responding for the best outcome instead of reacting for our protection. And with that said, then we can start all those changes that I talk about that will lead to reversing chronic disease. That are the three basic life principles that we can live by. That is equanimity, temperance, and vivacity. Now, if you want to know more about that, there is a more in-depth training that will be in the description link below. And if this was valuable to you, like and subscribe. If this is valuable to others or can be valuable to others, then share this with those persons. And then see you next time.